Hey guys, how's everyone doing? Welcome back to Harry's Highlights. On this video, we're going to talk about the book, The Power of Positive Thinking. Now, I love this because this is all about talking about mindset, belief, and about understanding just how much control you have over your thoughts, which flows into your actions, which flows into your environment. See, if you think positive thoughts, you can completely change yourself into a positive person, living a positive and productive life. And that is so true. It's been proven literally thousands of times in multiple different studies. But anyone who understands or embraces the idea of positive thinking understands it. A positive mental attitude, a PMA, can have astounding effects on your everyday life. And it just improves the quality of your life in general. See, when you start to take ownership of your thoughts, when you start to take ownership of the way you respond and react to things, you understand just how much power you have and how much power you give up normally. When something happens, you decide to react in a certain way, in negativity and things like that, you give up all that power to react positively. You give up all your control and you let the negativity seep in, and negativity just takes over. But when you understand the power of positive thinking, you have a positive mental attitude, you approach things with positivity, you almost become bulletproof. You are constantly able to react and respond to things the way you want to, and you allow what you want and what you don't want to affect you or not affect you. And that's what that power of positive thinking is all about. It's about returning power and control into your hands and understanding that everything happens and begins in the mind. See, you have to recognize and take control of your beliefs and then change them in a positive way. If you believe in positive thinking, if you believe in that you have control over it, you can then take charge and complete control over the direction of your life, the environments and circumstances and situations that you're in, because any situation you choose, if you look at it positively, can be completely different to how it actually is for a lot of other people. Because you decide to see it based on opportunity rather than obstacles, you then have the chance to be able to turn any negative into a positive. And what I like about that is that it's about returning control and power to us. It's about giving us the chance to, instead of being controlled by our circumstances and our environments, we then treat them as tools, to be able to do that we use to our advantage because of that belief and power of positive thinking. Then all actions, you have to remember, start from belief. So if you believe that you have the power and the control over your thoughts, you can then change your thoughts and then take action based on those thoughts. So if you believe a situation is a certain way, you'll react and respond accordingly. But by being able to change it in a positive way, you then can change the whole outcome of that situation. See, happiness is self-created. We can either choose to be happy or choose to be gloomy. That's up to us. That's a response or a reaction based on us. Starting with our belief, then moving on into the thoughts that we choose, the way we choose to look at it, then that creates the happiness or the gloominess or the sadness, whichever way we want to, the negativity, whichever you choose to react with. So that's what I really love about it, is that happiness is all self-created, and all comes internally. It doesn't happen externally. Too many people focus on happiness as like, well, if this situation was different, I would be happy. If this happened to me, I would be happy. When the truth is, it's all internal. It all happens from the inside the mind. It's all self-created, and then it comes outwards. And what you see on the inside is what you'll see on the outside. So if you internally think of positivity and you decide to be happy, you will externally produce that thought, that feeling. See, but you have to remember that those who expect the best get it. So if you expect happiness, if you expect success, if you expect wealth, you'll get it. Because what you see on the inside, your mind, what you create there, is what you see on the outside. It'll manifest. And speaking of manifest, all defeat, you have to remember, begins in the mind long before it manifests. They say you can tell when you're on the sports field or any sort of sports at all, you can tell when somebody's coming in there and they're already defeated. It's because they were defeated long before the game even started. Because mentally, in their mind, if they've decided they can't do this, or this is beyond them, or they're not going to be able to make it, well before they've even stepped foot on the field or began the game at all, they're coming with a defeated mindset. As opposed to the other one that's coming in there with that complete positive mindset that has the belief that we will win because we're choosing to win. Because we know that we are going to look at things with positivity, whether we win based on points or we win based on learning a lesson. We will win. Going in that positive mindset means they're expecting positivity and success, and they will receive it in some way, in some form. And what I loved about that is that it's always up to you. It's always up to how you decide, or you want the situation to turn out, or you want the situation to, how you want to react to the situation. So understanding that how much control you have, how much of the situation is in the control is in your hands, you can then decide how you want things to go. So no matter what happens, whether it be life-threatening, whether it be just a regular day, whether it be an unexpected situation, you can choose and decide how you want to react to it, and you can then choose how this situation will pan out. Just because you're in like what would normally be perceived as a negative situation doesn't mean it has to be a negative situation. Just because you're in a circumstance that most people would find negative or hindering doesn't mean you have to treat it that way as well. There's so many situations, there's so many times where there's been people that have been in situations that have been less than favourable. But they have come out far better than the person who's in a far better position or a far better situation because of how they've seen things mentally, because of how they've viewed things based on in their mind, and how they've decided that they want the situation to be. Because everything begins and ends in the mind. It all begins with how you look at the situation. So when somebody gives up mentally, it'll come through in their actions and in their environment. So like if say you're stuck out at sea, you're stranded for whatever reason, the person's mentally deciding that I will overcome this. This too shall pass. That no matter what you throw at me, I will get through this because I'm deciding to. Mentally, they've decided it, and it'll come through in their thoughts. It'll come through in how they react to things and how the rest of the situation pans out. So, understanding that you now have the power that, like, no matter what happens, no matter what obstacles come your way, no matter what situation shows up, you can react to it in the way that you want to. It doesn't have to be dictated by the environment or by the situation or anything else that's happening there. So, all in all, everything really begins internally before it happens externally. So understand that all actions stem from that belief that when you break it all down, it begins and starts with the mind and everything that you've got, that the way that you're viewing things. And then how another person views something doesn't mean that you have to view it in the exact same way. You can choose to look at things in a more positive way. You can choose to look at things in a way that you decided to how you want the outcome to be. Just because the outcome looks miserable, gloomy, looks like it's not going to turn out in a successful way, you can look at it in a positive way and choose for it to become better. That's how people get through adversities and struggles, and that's how people experience long periods of difficulties with a positive mental attitude, and they come out on the other side, and why others perish. Because success or defeat begins and ends in the mind. And once you understand that, once you embrace that, that's when you can then have better control over the situation, and you can then decide on what way you want everything to go. So I guess to quickly summarize everything here that I just spoke about, the power of positive thinking is that if you think positive thoughts, you can completely transform yourself into a positive person living a positive and productive life. That power is within your hands. You have to recognize and take control of your beliefs and change them in a positive way. You have to make that decision. You have to make that change. No one else can make it for you, because no one else can think your thoughts for you. Your thoughts all begin with you and they end with you. Other people can tell you how to, but ultimately you decide. You take action on those thoughts. And remember, all action stems from belief. So if you believe your thoughts, you believe in a certain way, your everything else will flow on from that belief. So you've got to recognize that belief and change it in a positive way, and then the action that will come from that will also be positive. You have to understand and remember that happiness is self-created, and that where everything that you think about, whether you want to be happy or whether you want to be gloomy, it all begins and ends in the mind. So internally it starts, and externally it finishes. So it's not things happening outside of you that then seep in internally. It all starts internally and seeps out externally. That's all power in your hands. Then you have to remember that those who expect the best will always get it, because mentally that's what they're looking for, so their mind will find ways to find it. And then you have to remember that all defeat begins in the mind. You have to long before it manifests. So understanding that if you go with a defeated mindset, you will become defeated. You go with a positive mindset, you go with a successful mindset, you will be successful. So that was everything I wanted to talk about there, about having a positive mental attitude and about thinking positive thoughts. Now, we'll be making a lot more of these videos for the training series to help you with your personal development goals. That's all for now. So until next time, leave a comment below on what you like the most, and I look forward to sharing more with you on the next episode of Harry's Highlights.